I chose this particular silly title as an inside joke because the mainstream media does it a lot. They will post something very controversial or something ridiculous and then end it with, and that's a good thing. I mean, you got all these journalistic outlets that are for-profit corporations that are supposed to be competing with each other, and they're posting the same titles again and again to the point where everyone notices. And it's not just about Star Wars. Just Google, and that's a good thing. And you'll see how many articles are being posted like that. But I legitimately mean what I say, and a lot of people don't give this much thought. So what am I talking about? Well, recently on the Romanian social media, a lot of people are complaining that prices are going up in certain supermarkets. And certain products like hand sanitizer is becoming so expensive that one day you can go up to a bank and say you want a loan of $10,000, and the bank manager is going to ask you if you have collateral, and you're going to say, yeah, I got these 2 bottles of hand sanitizers. To which the bank manager will respond, wow, right this way, sir. Are you interested in some of our premium offers? So let's talk a little bit about that. When people are talking about the prices going up, they talk about 2 things. Either companies raising prices or people price gouging. So let's talk about companies first. Notice how when a clothing company, let's say, has too many clothes on stock and they're not selling, they give a 50% discount or a 75% discount. No one is complaining about that. That is perfectly okay. But when companies are selling the things faster than they can restock, and they increase the price so that they can still have those things on the shelves, all of a sudden everyone is complaining. All of a sudden everyone is saying that the corporations are profiting from a crisis. Now, throughout human history, people have profited from a crisis, like during the Cold War era. A lot of companies profited on the nuclear scare and built bunkers. No one was calling those corporations evil. The stock market is constantly being played where people will buy a lot of stock when it's cheap and sell it when it's expensive, or vice versa. No one is complaining. But if the price for, toilet paper goes up, everyone loses their minds. And my argument is that it's legitimately a good thing that the price goes up when there isn't enough of that product in stock. Because think about it, if the price doesn't go up, then the shelves would be empty. So when the price goes up, the people who desperately need toilet paper right now, it's a life and death situation unless they don't have the toilet paper, well, those people can pay 25% extra and still get it. The people that do not need toilet paper today can wait 1 week until the price goes down. So because the prices goes up, you can still have that product on the shelves for people whose life depends on it. So if you think about it, it's quite similar to rationing. It's how the free market rations things. When there is scarcity, the price goes up, so a lot of people aren't going to buy it. Now, my country actually did have rationing for a time period when we were under socialism. And I can tell you it's not as great as it sounds on paper, because families with big number of people, they're going to have more rations than someone that lives alone in his apartment. And what ends up happening is that the families with a larger number of people are going to purchase everything that's on their ration. And not everyone in the family is going to want to use that product. So what happens is like you have this black market trading where people go like, yeah, I'll give you a kilogram of sugar, you give me this. It's like you create this alternative bartering economy whenever you have rationing. So I personally prefer the increase in price. Now, I want to point out just how lazy people are, at least in my country, and maybe it happens in yours right now. They go to supermarkets, they go to the big corporations, the big brands, and they're complaining that they're not finding toilet paper, or they're complaining that they're not finding, I think, flour was a problem, or yeast. You know, like certain products, they disappear off the shelves or they become too expensive. Meanwhile, if you go to the local grocery store, that is probably operated by someone from your country, like you don't go to Kaufland. Doesn't sound very Romanian, does it? But if you go to Magazinul de Zarzavata unchiului Gigi, which is Romanian-owned business, you're going to find everything that's not in the supermarket, and you're also going to find it at a cheap price. So most people during this particular time are just way too lazy to do their shopping from several places. Just go into a neighborhood and go to the local businesses that are really suffering from all of this, and you don't have to wait in these massive queues like you have to wait when you go to a supermarket because they only let 50 people in right now. You don't have to put up with the shortages because those places have all the things. But again, like, people don't like it because they can go to Magazinul de Zarzavata unchiului Gigi and they're not going to find, I don't know, yeast. But they do find their toilet paper and everything else. So now you have to go to Tanti Marioara's store, you know, which is across the street. So it's a little bit more inconvenient because it's not all the things at the same place. But again, like, you're supporting your local business. You're supporting the little guy if you do this. You're helping out your economy in a time of need. Stop going to these supermarkets. If you're complaining that the prices are too high, or you're complaining that there's not enough product that you want to purchase, just try for the love of God to go into the neighborhood, and you will be surprised just how many products they still have there. Now let's talk about the people that are price gouging. Let's talk about Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom decides to purchase 10,000 hand sanitizers. And everyone is like, wow, Uncle Tom is such a piece of shit. And my point is, like, it depends. Well, what if this December, when news of what's happening in China was on television, Uncle Tom decided to watch the TV, to watch Twitter, and in his brain, a little wheel was turning. And he was like, wow, I can purchase 10,000 bottles of sanitizers and sell them later. He took a risk. He did an investment. This shite could have been contained, and then he would have been stuck with 10,000 bottles of hand sanitizers, wouldn't he? So he took a gamble with his own money. He purchased the hand sanitizers, and now he's selling them for a more expensive price. Why do you have to buy it? Like, a lot of people are saying, well, hospitals don't have it, and Uncle Tom does. Uncle Tom is an asshole. Okay. Hospitals do not buy from Uncle Tom. Hospitals do not buy from Kaufland, Carrefour, or the places where you buy your hand sanitizers. Hospitals have a direct deal with the producer, and they're delivering it to the hospital without the need for the middle guy. So even if Uncle Tom wouldn't have been an asshole, and he wouldn't have purchased anything, the hospital still wouldn't get it. And secondly, you wouldn't get it. Like, again, you have the option to pay at an extra price to Uncle Tom to buy the things that you can't find anywhere else. And if no one wants it, if people were a little bit smarter and they would be like, you know what, I'm not going to pay so much for a hand sanitizer, fuck Uncle Tom. Then Uncle Tom would have to lower his price. So the problem is the people buying, not the people selling. And just to show you how dumb people are, how legitimately stupid people are, like, hand sanitizer, in my opinion, is an invention of the bourgeoisie. It's only the upper twats that use hand sanitizers in a time like this. It is just such a first world invention. Why can you not take an empty bottle of hand sanitizer, go to the liquor store, purchase some expensive alcohol, and then put the alcohol into the empty bottle, and there you go. You now have a hand sanitizer. Is that so hard? Why can you not use your brain? And I understand, you know, like, okay, it's not as good. Well, my grandfather used it during the war. Do you think they had the state-of-the-art hand sanitizer? No. Do you really need hand sanitizer? Can you not use soap instead? Okay, if your life depends on it, then do what I told you. Replace it with some strong alcohol. And if your life really depends on it, then purchase it from Uncle Tom. At least you have an Uncle Tom that can sell it. There are other places that don't have it at all. It's so annoying, you know. And again, like in the hospital, like where I worked, maybe the things are different in other places. But in my hospital, there was a sink at every single place. Like you couldn't make 2 steps in that hospital without finding a sink. So soap is still available. I see it in the supermarket. No one is going to stop you from purchasing some soap and putting it there if you legitimately are in a place where it doesn't have soap, though I would be astonished if that's the case. So you don't need any more hand sanitizer. It's just like the people that are saying this do not stand a little bit to think about it, to analyze the situation. Now, in my opinion, the real villainy, the real scumbags, which, by the way, is a bipartisan issue. Like, even I and AOC and Ilhan Omar and Tucker Carlson, we both agree on this, that the only people that are legitimately on a level of piece of shitery that cannot be described in the English language are the senators who found out about this and immediately started selling their stocks before announcing the population. So, it's perfectly okay if you know something bad is coming and you're selling your stocks for a company. What is not okay is to be in a position of leadership, like a senator, and then tell people that everything is fine, nothing bad is going to happen, while you're selling your stocks. Like that is some piece of shittery, isn't it? That is just up to the next level. I mean, if it was up to me, by the way, anyone that wants to be a lawmaker and pass legislation shouldn't operate and have private businesses. It's a conflict of interest. Like, he's going to pass legislation that influences his business in a positive way. So I do not agree with this. I think it's a conflict of interest. I think, like, people who want to run for office, you don't have to run for office. You're not forced, right? If you want to run for office, you shouldn't have any stocks in any private company. Or a private company yourself. That would be by legislation. Because look what's happening. You know, they get access to some information that the general public doesn't have. And then they take advantage of it. On one hand, they go on television and they say, yeah, everything is going to be fine. And then it's like, sell. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think, though, in the comment section. And hopefully this video changed your mind a little bit. Because, again, people are complaining when a store has a product that doesn't sell, and the next day they're like, yeah, we're going to give a 50% cut. That's perfectly fine with everyone. So why is it that if the opposite is true, and a store is running out of product, and they're like, yeah, we're going to increase it by 25% the price, everyone freaks out. And why are the people freaking out, not considering to purchase from somewhere else?